Oftentimes, Romania is seen as second poorest nation in the EU, and that label has stuck for a long time. However, I'm here to tell you that a lot of Romania is richer than a lot of places in the West, and the reason why is not necessarily what you'd think. Hello and welcome back to the Traveling Report. Today we're going to go over exactly why Romania is a little bit interesting from the perspective of a base of realistically very wealthy people, and why wealth is seen as something that is extremely good here, and how the politics actually encourage wealth. And while I do think that this is the case, I will put a slight disclaimer here. Of course, there is an increasing crackdown in the EU more broadly surrounding illicit funds and people being extremely paranoid about cracking down on any form of potentially even gray funds. So if you are looking for a jurisdiction that you can get away with crime, I would not recommend Romania. I wouldn't recommend anywhere in the world to do crime, but of course, if you don't have receipts for what you are offering, I would say that Romania is inherently a bad place to go. But obviously, with wealth being so overstated here, if you look at the parliament building behind me, it is very opulent. It is very visible in Romanian society, and while locals mostly just walk past it nowadays, it shows that there has been a time, and there always will be a time, where Romanians value wealth and they value opulence. And this is very interesting from a internationalization standpoint and globalization standpoint, where, of course, you can see the visual opulence in society here. You can see the very nice cars, you can see the luxury handbags and so forth, the tailored suits. But of course, here in Bucharest, you get sort of all of this at once, and it does seem very much unequal. And it is unequal. It is the most unequal society in the EU. However, there's also benefits to all of this happening, and the main thing is taxes. And while I won't get too into depth on taxes in Romania, they are extremely beneficial, and I think they will continue to be as time goes on. Although, of course, with the recent budget deficits, they did raise taxes from 10% to 16%, which was not amazing to hear, but of course, it's perfectly still within reason of a company standpoint. Now, that said, of course, Romania is very interesting from that standpoint. And of course, the people here in Romania are very interesting, as there is a sense that flexing is not inherently a bad thing. And of course, not all of Romania is the same with this. If you go to a village, they're actually going to be more accepting of the flexes than someplace like Cluj-Napoca or Bucharest. But it still is very visible in Bucharest. It still is very visible in Cluj-Napoca, which of course shows that there is a inherent culture of extreme ideation towards wealth, and not in a negative light, but in a positive light. And Bucharest doesn't feel as poor as what the headlines would tell you. It doesn't feel like the second poorest nation in the EU from a perspective of living day to day. In fact, it feels quite nice in comparison. And the parks are amazing here. The food is amazing. The service is amazing, which I will soon be creating a video on service culture here in Romania, and specifically in Bucharest. But of course, there is this sense of overwhelming bravado in Romania. And while it is changing, and especially since EU integration has started, people are becoming more private, they're becoming more understated in how they interact. I think that it comes to reason that, of course, people are extremely proud of the wealth they've created, even if that wealth has been less than legitimately gotten. And people are living their life. And while I think that, of course, people here are not all the same in this regard, I think that especially the older folks are more likely to tell you about Ceausescu times and so forth. I think that realistically, it is a culture of people who really appreciate living life, and living life not necessarily as a show of wealth, but just living life as an extension of wealth. And that's a very different perspective to US opulence or places like that. And of course, while I'm here on the ground in Bucharest, I will be doing more research over topics that are related to wealth. And so, of course, if you want to join me on that journey of learning about wealth in Bucharest, learning about wealth in Romania, then of course feel free to subscribe. And if you liked this video, feel free to leave a like. If you really liked this video, feel free to share it with your friends. If you are looking for consulting services on this topic exactly, you're looking to go abroad, you're looking to create optionality outside of your home country, I would recommend booking a call. It is 15 minutes, one-on-one, absolutely free. And without further ado, this has been the Traveling Report, signing off.